Hi, these are some frequently asked questions that we've been asked over the years, and we are going to today try to distinguish what we feel is the difference between contact and abduction. Because the definitions have been blurred and the similarities are closer now, and it's more difficult to distinguish and tell the difference between the two. So does someone want to tell me what they feel is, in their mind, what an abduction experience is?
I feel an abduction experience always starts fear-filled, terrorizing the individual. It's done against their will, without their permission, and they have no say-so in the matter they think. Whereas in a contact experience with positive aliens, you are always given a choice. If you do not want contact, they'll break away and leave you. You get no examinations and tests and probes and any of the negative things. These are all aliens relating to you on different topics, and it's all within your own will.
And
you have a choice.
Usually, if there is a contact, it's for a specific reason,
Yes.
and a person would have to be ready for contact,
Yes.
because they would not come in and cause any kind of fear. So it's like they monitor people to see when they're ready, and this might not have come out a lot, but it's like a contact with somebody on Earth, from alien contact with somebody on Earth. It's usually planned out, where they're aware of each other on a subconscious level at some time in the past. So it's not a total freaky shock, out of the blue. Whereas an abduction, I think what the abductor sometimes does is say that you volunteer or you agreed to be abducted before, which is a total lie. If it was not, just say there was some kind of thing like that, and you don't want abduction, you don't want this to happen, you can say no. And Bonnie, you can probably say better than I can how you can refuse an abduction.
There's been times, I've had, luckily, and it's not really luck, contact and not an abduction. It has been years in the making. I believe that I knew the aliens on a different level, and the first time I came in contact with them, that I was awake and I knew what was happening, and I was with another person, I was still frightened a little bit. And ship came down over the road, and they came down and just kind of invited us in, and I thought, oh my God, are they going to take me away, and am I never going to see my family again? And I had all these things running through my head, and they started to leave. They knew I wasn't ready for what was happening. And as they were leaving, I thought to myself, no, wait a minute. If they're ready to leave and not take me, that means that they wouldn't do anything negative to me. And I thought, well, if I don't go now, will I ever see them again? Will they ever want to have contact with me again? And in that instant, they must have known what I was thinking, because the next thing I was in the ship, and they were showing me around and everything like that. But through the years, I have tested them. I have said, I knew they were going to come that night. I could feel it. And I'd say, I'm tired tonight. Don't bother me. Or they've come in the house and I saw them in my bedroom, and I'd say, I'm too tired. I don't want to go with you tonight. And they turn around and leave. They never, ever even try to take me against my will. And that is what a spiritual or a good contact is.
Bonnie, I understand that when you were on board ship, you were allowed to roam freely, and you carry on conversations with the benevolent aliens, and they tried to make you feel very comfortable. Whereas I understand in an abduction scenario, you're strapped down to a table, you're having tests performed on you that you don't want and have never asked for. So that to me is distinguished a great deal difference between abduction and contact.
Yeah, because they've allowed me on board ship to investigate, to look around. They've carried on conversations with me, and they've never, ever done an experiment on me. They've never strapped me down. They've never done any probing on me or anything like that. And I think that's the biggest difference between a contact and an abduction. One is very gentle, very easy. The other one is all fear-filled, and terrible things are done to the people.
Well, in the fear-filled abduction, they're like you said, have said before, they're given cookies or they're given little tidbits of information or shown things in the future or even been healed from diseases. And that's enough to hook them into thinking this is a good thing. Whereas in a contact case, they do not do that. They do not heal because you have chosen in your earth body to have these illnesses as a learning experience, and you need to play it by earth rules when you're here.
Right, and if your family has a health problem and you are born in that family, you probably are going to have that. And you need doctors of earth to take care of that. They're not here to solve our problems. We have to do our own solving of the problems. I've heard many people say, well, why don't they just come down here and clean the planet up? We messed it up. It's our responsibility to clean it up. And hopefully, we'll learn that lesson in this generation.
Well, and I think the benevolent aliens do not need to give cookies or tidbits of information or do a healing. They don't need to do that because that's deceptive. They're open and honest and sometimes even reprimand us when we've done something we shouldn't be doing.
Right. Although through the years, they have allowed many of us to ask questions of them, and they've answered us as they see what's happening on the planet, but they don't know all the answers. They cannot tell us what's going to happen in the next day or not, or next year, because we all have free will. And we all make choices, and some of them are not good and some are fine, but we live with the consequences.
Russ, in your mind, why do you feel a positive, benevolent alien would make contact with a human person on the planet?
Well, I believe in reincarnation, always have, and because of that, it's very natural for me to feel that in a previous lifetime I may have been working with them, and they say, Earth has a problem, can you help? I would probably volunteer, and here I am. Now they would say, okay, it's time for him to start his mission here. He's not quite getting it right, let's talk to him in his sleep time and give him a reoccurring dream to help prepare him for a contact.
But they also give us the free will to stop a mission. You know, we do have free will. They will not force it on us.
This is true, and we also have, we also get sidetracked and aren't on the straight and narrow, or like going,
Weaving about like a drunkard.
Right, and we all get disgusted at times and kind of back away, and then we just come back and try again.
I mean, it's, you know, I think of the early contactees, and then I say, well, who's the earliest? Well, I guess you could go all the way back to Abraham in the Bible. You know, God said, "Hey, move." And then he saw two strangers coming. And how could he tell they were strangers? Was it the clothes they wore? Was it the way they walked? But I feel they are trying to influence humanity through people, through ordinary people, not someone who has a political or a religious title, just an ordinary person.
Well, I believe that the aliens are here making contact, benevolent aliens are here making contact because the negative aliens were here. And they're influencing people to make bad choices. So the benevolent aliens decided to try and reach people to make better choices. And so they've made contact, hoping that these contacted people will spread love and light and help one another and make this planet a better place.
And without going into this whole big scenario, if that's possible, but what, in a nutshell, is the purpose of the abductions then? The negative agenda?
Well, I believe the negative aliens work for the negative side, which is led by Lucifer himself. He's after our souls. This is an age-old battle, and it's a battle for the souls, not for your physical body, but for your souls, for eternity.
And what is the experimentation and the paralyzation about?
That's their own agenda. That's all negative, and those negative feelings make you make bad choices.
And sometimes, from what I've read and talked to people about, I'm almost believing that the negative aliens maybe feed off from the negativity that they get through these experiments.
But what is the experiment? What are they doing? What is that agenda about?
That's a very good question. You know, the person wakes up realizing they're paralyzed, can't move, they're restrained somehow, then this examination occurs, implants are put in, whatever the alien agenda is, we really don't know. Some people say it's to make hybrids, an alien-human hybrid. But it is not a spiritual thing in any way, shape, or form, because it's always against the person's free will, and are they harvesting the negative energies? And if they are, then are they over all the scary rides at the amusement parks?
The
where
fear.
people get gathering the fear from there.
I believe it's more than that. I do believe they feed off the negative energy, but I think these negative aliens are lacking what we have, and they want it. And they're experimenting, trying to figure out how to get it. They don't know how to love, they don't know how to show emotion, they don't feel, and I think they really want that.
And I, another thing too, I think they may have destroyed their planet or whatever. I think they do want this beautiful planet that we live on
And our resources.
and our resources.
But there is, I would say, a lot of ample testimony and evidence that we know about and that we have heard about, read about, talked to people in person, that they are in fact creating the hybrids, which the positive aliens would never cross that line because they believe in the same God that I do, and that it is his job to create, and that another entity, whoever they may be, have no right in creating. and putting two species together, the alien and the human, this crosses a line I feel that God cannot accept.
I agree.
So that, to me, is part of their agenda. They are creating, so where does the blur come in and why? Why have we suddenly heard, okay, there was a distinction. This was an abduction, this was contact. There was a clear difference between the two, and suddenly now there's a blur, they're so similar that it's very difficult to tell the difference between the two. What is that all about?
I think through the years, the negative aliens have learned, kind of observed maybe the contactees or the contacts, and they've learned from that to kind of mimic the way the contacts are going, and kind of deceptive to pull people into thinking, you know, like I think we've talked about some of the words, it was contact and abduction, concrete like that. Now there's participant, experiencer, volunteers, a word they're using nowadays. Maybe letting abductees think that they volunteered for this, giving them a title as emissary, you know, taking them out to see a stellar, something in space, like you said, give them the cookies, these little treats, so that they think they are part of something good. But when you think about it down deep, the underlying truth of what they're doing is a lie. They're lying to these people. They have their own agenda.
And so then, what would be the way out of that? Because that sounds kind of hopeless.
It's exactly the opposite of what this is negative. What's the most positive thing or being, or I'll just say it. For me, the highest, why don't you go to the highest source for help, which is God and Jesus. You know, this is a highly negative thing, go to the highly positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's, I think you're going to ask the question about what if a person's not religious?
I didn't want to end it on a negative note, because we've got to
Yeah.
leave hope.
What if
So
a person's
there's-
not religious? But I don't think God and Jesus are about religion,
No.
That's man-made, the religious part.
which a lot of people see religion or hear that and they're just clammed up.
Yeah, they turned off. But this is not about religion. It's about spirituality, the soul that we were given, the spiritual part of our body, and we have to call on that. And who's Jesus and God? And if we don't stand up for ourselves and call on Him, then we are going to have a problem.
Mhm.
But there's always hope.
And I think part of it too is engaging this human spirit and standing in your own power as well. But you've got to work in conjunction with Him and God, I believe as well, God and Jesus. You cannot stand and do this on your own. Again, please, let's not confuse religion with spirituality. It has nothing to do with religion. It's a spiritual, age-old battle between good and evil.
Mhm. I think Heidi Hollis has talked about, you know, if a person believes that the negative things in this world are happening, they believe negativity, why do you not believe in the positive? I mean, if this is all there is negative, then there'll be, in my opinion, if there was nothing but negativity in existence, there would be nothing but cold, dark blackness left. So there's got to be the positive.
And we have hope.
Yes, light, hope.